Narinig ang tinig ni Jesus, ang tugon ko'y ayaw sa kailang at daing ng tao. Ang tugon ko'y ayaw. Ibabalitang pag-ibig at ang dakilang pag-asa. At kung ako'y mabigo, Jesus pasaklolo, pagkat ako'y nagpasyang hahayo.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat mga kapatid. Welcome po muli sa ating pong programang Sweet Hour of Prayer. Kamusta na po kayo? Happy midweek po sa inyong lahat na sana po ay nasa mabuti kayong kalagayan at patuloy na ginagabayan ng ating Panginoon. Sa gabi po ito tayo po ay masaya sapagkat sa buong maghapon ay tayo po ay iningatan ng ating Panginoon at tayo po ay nakaranas ng mga experiences at mga pagpapala na sa Kanya lamang galing. Kaya nga, papurihan natin ang ating Panginoon at ating pong anyayahan siya sa ating pong programa. Tayo po ay yumuko para po sa isang panalangin. Ama naming banal, Diyos na nasa mga langit ka, muli po kaming lumalapit sa inyong banal na harapan. Papuri at pasasalamat po ang aming po ibinibigay sa inyo, Panginoon, dahil kayo ang siyang Diyos na patuloy na gumagabay sa bawat isa sa amin. Amin po hinihiling ang inyong patnubay at gabay sa aming pong programa na ito. Kayo nawa po ang siyang manguna sa bawat isa. Maraming salamat sa pagdinig sa aming dalangin sa pangalan ng aming Panginoong Hesus. Amen. Amen. Tayo po ay nagpapasalamat sa ating Panginoon sapagkat patuloy niya tayo pong ginagabayan, lalong-lalo na po sa ating pong ginagawang Time Pag-asa Season 5. Kagabi po ay almost 800 po ang nanood sa ating pong online at live po na nanonood. At patuloy po natin silang anyayahan, no? Yung ating po mga kaibigan, kilala na sila po ay manood. I-share po natin ang ating pong program. At patuloy rin po natin panalangin si Pastor Noel Galang sa kanya pong pagbibigay ng mensahe. Pero bago po tayo tumuloy ay ating pong batiin ang ating pong mga kapatiran na narito. No? Nandito na po Sister Mel Bacon. Sabi po niya, blessed evening and happy midweek, Pastor Bong, Fiedacan, Pastor Josiah Esguera, Pastor Jerome Esquero, and everyone. God bless all tonight. Yan. Thank you very much po. Sister Mel, naway kayo rin ay pagpalain ng ating Panginoon at kayo rin naman ay patuloy na gamitin sa kanyang gawain. Nandito rin po Sister Eliza Maximo Pedris. Good evening po, dear pastors, and to everyone watching from North Caloocan City. No? Thank you very much. Naway ang pagpapala rin na ibigay sa inyo ng ating Panginoon. Sister Annie Rapacontiam, no? Gandang gabi po sa lahat. No? Thank you very much at magandang gabi rin. Naway kayo ay patuloy na mapagpala sa ating pong program na ito. Pa-share na po natin mga kapatid, no? Ang ating pong program. Nandito rin po Sister Lita Papanaw. Good evening to all. Yan. At mabilis po nating batiin ang ilan sa ating po mga kapatid. Rai Vargas, no? Welcome po sa ating pong program. M. Joy ay kasama rin po natin. Sister Mirlu Likup Marasigan, na good evening sa bawat isa. P.R.V.T. Flores ay kasama rin po natin. Caridad, no? Gilbuena Manatalia, Maria Natalia, no? Happy midweek everyone ang sayo po niya. At syempre, nandito rin Sister Glo Alcanar at Sister Elizabeth Gabriel Tamanyo, at Alani Fajardo Navarro, no? Rizal Araniego Bayona, Sister Ruthie Tobia, Sister Rose Rosos, at Sister Georgie Paches. Kasama rin po natin Sister Presi Alimurong. Sino pa po ang nandito? Sister Zozima Marchadis Alhentera. Kaya nga po, good evening sa inyong lahat mga kapatid, at tayo ay patuloy na pumuri sa pangalan ng ating Panginoon. Yan. Tayo po ay dadako sa ating pong text ngayon mga kapatid, at ang ating pong text ay galing po sa Leviticus. Yan, ito po ang sabi. Leviticus 19:31. Give no regard to mediums and familiar spirits. Do not seek after them to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. No? Wag daw po tayong lumapit sa mga spiritista, no? Mediums ang tawag diyan, mga spiritista na tumatawag ng mga spirito na nagpapanggap na ating pong mga kamag-anak. Nakatulad po na nangyari, no, kay Saul. Ito po ay isang classic example na wag po nating gawin, no? Na gusto niya na siya po ay makapag-usap kay Samuel, na siya po ay pumanaw na si prophet Samuel, pumanaw na, no? Kung kailan pang patay na si Samuel, doon ay gusto niya na mapakinggan si Samuel. Pero nung buhay pa si Samuel, hindi naman niya pinatawag, hindi naman niya pinapakinggan. May mga pagkakataon po na ganyan, alam niyo po, nakakalungkot na kapag buhay pa yung ating po mga kamag-anak, hindi po natin pinagpapapansin, no? Hindi natin minamahal, hindi natin, nakakalungkot yan mga kapatid, no? Pero kung kayo po ay minamahal nyo yung mga kamag-anak nyo ngayon, well and good, no? Napakabuti na ginagawa po natin yan. Pero madalas, no, na-experience din po natin na tayo po ay kapag namatay na, parang tayo po ay nagigilty. No? Hindi natin ginawa yung dapat natin gawin. Hindi natin ibinuhos yung pagmamahal natin sa kanila. Kung kailan na sila po ay namatay na, diyan bumibili tayo ng magagandang mga bulaklak, nakikipag-usap tayo sa kanila, nagsisay tayo ng sorry, sila pasensya ka na, patawarin mo ko, hindi kita masyadong nabigyan ng panahon. No? Alam niyo po mga kapatid, if you will only be guilty, no, at tayo magsisisi sa pagkamatay, huwag po natin gawin. Kailangan po ngayon pa lang ay mahalin na natin ang ating pong mga mahal sa buhay, ating mga kaibigan, ang ating kapwa, para pagdating na sila po ay namatay na, ay hindi po tayo magsisisi. No? Hindi natin sasabihin na hindi natin nagawa yung dapat natin gawin. At alam niyo po mga kapatid, ganyan din ang nangyayari. No? Kapag guilty na tayo, na parang talaga pong tayo ay nalugbok na. Minsan ninasabi natin na pwede ba nating makausap ulit, no? ating mga kapag-anak para mag-say lang tayo ng sorry. Dahil iniisip natin na pag nakausap natin sila ng mukhaan o through mediums, ay parang may ibsan yung guilt natin na tayo po ay nakagawa or hindi natin ginawa ang tama. Kaya nga po mga kapatid, sabi dito, give no regard to mediums or familiar spirits. Now, kahit po hindi po tayo pumunta doon sa mga mediums, no? Pero, sa mga spiritista, kung tayo naman ay parang pumunta tayo sa sulok at kinakausap natin yung portrait halimbawa o yung picture, sinasabi natin, Nay, kaya Kuya, or Han, patawarin mo ko, sana maramdaman ko ng pag-ibig mo ngayon. Patay na po mga kapatid. Huwag po natin gawin yan mga kapatid, mga familiar spirits na tinatawag. Do not seek after them to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. No? Kala po natin okay lang yun. Iniisip natin, pinapakinggan po tayo. Hindi po mga kapatid. Napakalinaw sa banal na kasulatan na ang namatay ay patay na. Hindi na yan nakakarinig, hindi na yan nakakapag-isip, hindi na yan makapagpapatawad sa iyo. Kaya tanggapin na po natin. Ang kailangan ay sa Panginoon tayo humingi ng tawad. Tayo po ay tumawag sa ating Panginoon. Sabihin natin, Panginoon, no? hindi man ako nakagawa ng mabuti sa aking mahal sa buhay, ibinibigay ko yung buhay ko sa inyo sapagkat ikaw lamang ang makapagpapatawad sa akin. Kaya nga po mga kapatid, if you really want to talk, no, to your loved ones who are already dead, talk to God. Dahil ang ating Panginoon napapakinggan niya yung ating pong mga hinaing. Napapakinggan niya yung ating pong bigat ng puso natin. At siya ang magbibigay ng kapayapaan sa ating buhay. No? So yan po, napakaganda ng text natin. No? Naway tayo po ay lubos na pinagpala at tayo po ay lalo pang papalapit sa ating Panginoon. Ngayon po, idako tayo sa ating pong special number na ibibigay po sa atin ni Dr. Nora Fernandez. No? Ang awitin po niya ay Thankful. At tayo po ay mapalad, papapakinggan po natin ang isang mensahe na bibigay po sa atin ni Pastor Mikeanz Hamol. Naway ang mga pagpapala, mga kapatid, no? Ang ating pong mapapakinggan, awit at mensahe ay magbigay ng kalakasan sa ating pananampalataya at lalo tayong mapalapit sa ating Panginoon. God bless po sa inyong lahat.
My heart is so proud, my mind is so unfocused. I see the thing you do through me as great things I have done. And now you gently break me, then lovingly you take me and hold me as my Father and mold me as my Maker. I asked you how many times will you pick me up when I keep on letting you down, and each time I will fall short of your glory. How far will forgiveness abound? And you answered, my child, I love you, and as long as you're seeking my face, you'll walk in the bar of my daily sufficient grace. At times I may grow weak and feel a bit discouraged, knowing that someone somewhere can do a better job. For who am I to serve you? I know I don't deserve you, and that's the part that burns in my heart and keeps me hanging on. I asked you how many times will you pick me up when I keep on letting you down, and each time I will fall short of your glory. How far will forgiveness abound? And you answered, my child, I love you, and as long as you're seeking my face, you'll walk in the bar of my daily sufficient grace. You are so patient with me, Lord. As I walk with you, I'm learning what your grace really means. The price that I could never pay was paid at Calvary. So instead of trying to repay you, I'm learning to obey you by giving up my life to you for all that you've given to me. I ask you how many times will you pick me up when I keep on letting you down, and each time I will fall short of your glory. How far will forgiveness abound? And you answered, my child, I love you, and as long walk in the power of my daily sufficient grace.
Good day, everyone, and thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity given by our Lord Jesus to share this message for today. And the message that I want to share to you this day is found in Acts 15, and it says here, Acts 15 verses 1 and 2 in New King James Version. And certain men came down from Judea and taught the brethren, unless you are circumcised according to the custom of Moses, you cannot be saved. In verse 2, therefore when Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and dispute with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain others of them should go up to Jerusalem to the apostles and elders about this question. So, as we see here in this verse, to give you a short background, the situation actually is there are a group of people coming from Judea, and it's also called in other translation Judaizer, who are although they are Christians, Jewish Christians, yet still very adherent to the Jewish tradition, as if a Pharisee Christian. It's like that, my beloved, but still a Christian, yet very strict in complying the Jewish tradition, wherein circumcision is necessary for being saved or in salvation. So of course the one they are referring here are the Gentiles Christian, who are in their culture, who are naturally in their upbringing, they are not used to circumcision. Yet the Judaizer, they are displeased with the Gentiles who are not circumcised, and they are requiring that in order for them to be saved, in order for them to be accepted in Christian churches, they have to get circumcised. So now, my beloved, because of this, as the text says, Paul and Barnabas are into dispute with these Judaizer Christians, and obviously, as the text says, there's no reconciliation, and they don't agree, they don't find common ground about this conflict. They don't agree with each other's belief and opinion, and that's why the church decided to send Paul and Barnabas to bring the issue to the Jerusalem council, wherein composition of apostles, elders, and some selected church or authorities that time. They serve as like a Jerusalem Council. Actually, they serve as like today our local conference, or maybe general conference, we might say. So meaning to say, they bring the issue to the higher organization that time. We're in this Jerusalem council to find advices in order to find unity and not to disrupt the ministry of the churches, and not to divide our church that time, because this is really an intriguing issue, and if not given a right solution, and maybe division is coming on their way. And that's why, my beloved, before we go on further, as we see even today, even nowadays, in our present times, we have a lot of belief disputes, especially about practices in the church. We have because we are coming from different cultural backgrounds, different parental upbringing, so disputes are naturally coming out in our arise in our church. So one of the best example of this is this Christmas celebration issue, which is very timely because we are now in Christmas, not just season, but we are in Christmas month as the world celebrated it. So there are so many left unsolved issues, so many left unsolved disputes because of this issue, and one of this is Christmas issues, celebration issues. And the saddest things about this is that the relationship of one another in our church grows dimmer, gets dimmed and dimmer. Beloved, it's the saddest part of this, and some gets backslidden, some transfer their membership just because of this simple issue. And I wanna read it to you. Conflict cannot be avoided, but a healthy conflict must lead to love towards brethren and respect to one another. My beloved, conflict in our church is unavoidable. Conflict naturally arises because of our differences. Though we are Adventists, yet we cannot avoid conflict because it naturally arises in our church because of our cultural background and different upbringing. And we have to be ready whenever there's conflict. And when I am reading the conflict ministry book, it says there that conflict arises in the church because every church member or parties involved in the conflict are having this concern in the growth of our and the peace and unity of our church. That's a good thing there, but it doesn't mean that we have to be in conflict at all times. As the book says, we do conflict not for just for the sake of conflict. We do conflict in order to minimize the differences, in order to resolve this to find a resolution of our differences, and still to maintain the peace in the church, and not to grow a hatred relationship with each other. As in a marital relationship, conflict is unavoidable, alright, and conflict sometimes has to be done in order to find a common ground, in order to find a unity, in order to understand more each other. And that's why we have to really prepared about this conflict. And now our time is very short, and that's why I wanna proceed already in the lesson that we can draw out of this passage that I've shared to you. Actually, it's a very long passage. What are the lessons can we draw from Acts 15, especially about the issues that we are getting into right now about this Christmas celebration issue? You know, whenever there are belief disputes, obviously this divides the church, and whenever it arises as what they have done in this as the model they have shown here, the first thing we have to do is to bring this to the church authorities. You know, many brethren, when they have read some passages in the Bible, they say, oh, this is the biblical teaching and we have to abide it, we have to comply on it. It is because this is what the Bible says. My beloved, although it is true that we are allowed to read our own Bible, we are allowed to interpret whatever interpretation we like, but so long as it is not against to the fundamental doctrines and practices of our church. But if our interpretation causes disunity, causes division of beliefs in our church, my beloved, we have to be restrained. Our freedom of interpreting the Bible has to be restrained. It causes confusion in our church, and if that happens, my beloved, we have to consult that belief to our church authority as what they have done before. And if you will read verse 31, after the Jerusalem Council, after giving the decision, as the text says, they're happy about the decision of the council, and they are united again, and their faith grows stronger once again, because they have that respect. And that's why it's very important that we have to respect our local conferences authority. Whatever they say about that issue, we have to respect it. My beloved, we have to respect our conferences. About this Christmas celebration, actually I don't know if there's a official statement about coming from our conferences or even general conferences, but I've heard one time from Pastor Ted Bilson. He says that although we do not believe that Christ was born in December 25, still he is born, and that's why we do not restrain those people who are celebrating Christmas, because of the commemoration that Jesus was still born, although it's not December 25. But I know that some do not agree with that, but we can say that's not general conference statement, but at least that was the statement of one of the highest actually leader of our church, Pastor Elder Ted Wilson. And to proceed, my beloved, in every disputes, another lesson we can draw from it is that we must, every parties involved in the dispute or in the disagreement or in the issues, both has to make an adjustment, because sometimes we presume that we will not adjust, they have to adjust for me. But as the model shown in Acts 15 in verses 24 to 29, we can see here that from the Judaizer versus the Gentile Christian, both or each party has to make an adjustment. So while it's true that Gentiles is not required to get circumcised, yet they have to be restrained, or they are to stop doing sexual immoralities, eating strangled foods, and eating foods that are offered to the idols. So that is the condition, and they have to adjust to, not just the Judaizer, to stop judging them, requiring them something, but also the Gentiles to have to adjust. So that is the case, and also in this Christmas celebration issue, my beloved. So not just the agreed parties to the Christmas celebration must adjust, but also the opposing the other party, the opposing party, have to make an adjustment to. For instance, my beloved, the against to the Christmas celebration are displeased, of course, with putting Christmas tree or Christmas lightings in our church. Then what the agreeing party, or those party who agreed with Christmas celebration, must do? They have to remove those Christmas emblems, those Christmas tree and lightings, in order not to cause stumbling block with these people who are disagreed with Christmas emblems in our church. And on the other end, the opposing party, those who do not agree, must be respectful too, and they have to be tactful also in approaching those people who are united in, or are pros in celebrating Christmas. Because sometimes the tendency, those people who are displeased, they get to become judgmental, pointing fingers, and they are becoming hostile with their co-brethren in the church. So, my beloved, both parties has to adjust. Both have to adjust. Each of them has to adjust, my beloved. Not just the other party, but especially you who are raising this issue, have to make an adjustment in order to maintain the relationship in our church. And another thing we can draw from Acts 15, we have to find a common ground. Obviously, in every issue there are differences, but still we can find a common ground here in order to get in touch with each other. For example, in the conflict in Antioch, Judaizer versus Gentiles, what's the common ground there? So obviously the common ground is both. The Judaizer obviously do not eat strangled food, do not involve sexual immorality, and do not eat foods offered to idols. The same with the Gentiles. They agreed to that they will no longer eat those, or they will no longer eat and practice those things. And as in our Christian celebration issue, things that we can do in order to find a common ground in the disputes about it. Example, instead of using Christmas party, we must use a party, right? We're year-end celebration rather. Instead of using Merry Christmas, then say Happy Holidays, right? Instead of using Christmas gift wrapper, then use a neutral gift wrapper without any drawings or paintings about Christmas thing right there. And instead of using Christmas tree, why use banana tree? So that we could save relationship in our church. And lastly, my beloved, I just want to share to you. Lastly, we cannot, still at the end of the days, we cannot expect other will change their attitude. Probably they will remain adherent to their beliefs. They will still celebrate Christmas. But my beloved, my advice and my counsel to you, to every one of us, do not harbor ill feelings, because Satan shall lead this feeling into much greater sins. If you don't know. And still, we have to be respectful. We have to respect our brethren's different belief. Although we cannot change them, my beloved, we have to respect them no matter what. We cannot force them to change their lifelong beliefs, my beloved. We cannot force them to change their behavior. That's why we have to respect them no matter what. Whether they will change or not, we have to respect, because they are brethren in our church. And also, if you can't respect them, at least do not get engaged into quarrel with them. Save the relationship, my beloved, because that's the most important. Do not engage into quarrel in social media. Do not talk something bad about them in Messenger, or even in Sabbath School review. Do not use the Sabbath School Review platform to engage into battle about Christmas celebration issue. Respect and do not cause a bad feelings towards them, my beloved. And also, despite of differences, let us still learn to talk to them. Say hi. Do not distance yourselves from them just because they have differing beliefs from you. Although you cannot mingle with them in their beliefs, but not at all time they are in their beliefs. Both of you have beliefs could be in common. Not at all times you could live in that beliefs, and not at all time we have Christmas. We have other celebration that might you get into unity, my beloved. So we have Valentine's, so we have Teachers Day, so you can still find in common. Not every day, not every time, not every month we have Christmas. So why maintain these ill feelings for that long, my beloved? And also let us show that love towards them, the love of Christ, because we are Adventists, and at the end of the day we are still Christ missionaries who are ought to share His love in the whole world. And that whole world that we are that the object of our love, in the brethren who have differing beliefs, are included to that, my beloved. So let us all do the good thing we can, my beloved, and to let our brethren stay. Let us all do all the things that we could. Why? Because it's very hard to teach them already if they're no longer in our church, or they are already gets backslidden. So that's why let us be mindful, tactful of our words, of our actions that might cause stumbling block against our one brethren. And in conclusion, I want to read this passage coming from Adventist Home, from Ellen G. White. It says, Adventist Home, page 482, shall we have a Christmas tree? So this is a question about Christmas tree. Shall we have a Christmas tree? Will it not be like the world? We answer, you can make it like the world if you have the disposition to do so, or you can make it unlike the world as possible. There's no particular sin in selecting fragrant evergreen and placing it in our churches, but the sin lies to motive which prompt to action, and the use which is made of the gifts placed upon the tree. So my beloved, still, as the Ellen White says, the motive, the sin lies in our motive, not merely in our actions, but our motives. So we have to be tactful, we have to be mindful of our motives. Whatever thing we do, we have to be mindful of our motives. So that's all I can share to you today, and may God bless each and everyone.
Maraming salamat po, Pastor Mikeanz Hamol. Napakaganda po ng mensahe ninyo. Alam niyo po, ang napaka-importante ay ang ating pong relationship sa ating Panginoon. Yan. Huwag po natin yung kakalimutan, dahil nandito pa rin tayo sa mundo, no? At kung tayo ay malapit sa mundo, ay napapalayo tayo sa ating Panginoon. Pero kung tayo po ay malapit sa ating Panginoon, kung ano yung nais niyang pagawa sa atin, ay gagawin po natin. Lalo-lalo na ang pagmamahal at pagbibigayan at patuloy na magiging pagpapala sa mga taong ating pong nakakasalamuha. Kaya nga po sa gabi po ito, tayo po ay sama-sama na humarap muli sa ating Panginoon at ating pong idulog sa Kanya ang ating pong mga pananalangin, mga kahinaingan. At focus po natin ngayon ay ang ating pong mga kapatiran na meron pong mga karamdaman. Tayo po ay sama-sama na yumuko para po sa isang panalangin. Ama namin banal, Diyos na nasa mga langit ka. Nagpapasalamat po kami sa pagkakataon na kayo po ay sama-samang makapanalangin muli. Kayo po ay nagpapasalamat sa mga pagpapala na patuloy niyo ibinubuhos sa bawat isa. Nagpapasalamat kami sa buong maghapon na ito na kami po ay inyong sinamahan, ginabayan at kayo, Panginoon, ang nagpala sa amin. Kaya nga amin pong hinihiling, Panginoon, na sa gabi po ito ay kami ay patuloy na gabayan rin naman sa amin pong mga gagawin, sa amin pong pagpapahinga. Muli po namin inilalapit sa inyo, Panginoon, ang aming po mga kapatid na may mga karamdaman. Nandito po sila Revi Banaag, Pearl Fabito, Makarya Kiing, ganoon po dinadalangin namin si Boy Alimurong, Presi Alimurong, Ezra Bayona, pati na rin po si Ricardo Aranyego at Kevin Bayona. Amin rin po dinadalangin si Melton John Dugmok, pati na rin po si Hasara Hermosa Dugmok at ang kanyang kapatid na babae. Panginoon, alam po namin na kayo ang siyang nagnanais na pagalingin ng mga kapatid po namin na ito. Naway kayo po, Panginoon, ang kumipo sa kanila. Meron po dinadalangin, Panginoon, si Judith Bagoon, si Jai Almerol, pati na rin po si Ani Ang, si Don at si Rafael Ibanez III at si Evelyn Santa Maria. Ganun din po dinadalangin rin po namin si Clarence, si Noriel Patricio, at ganun din po si Iga. At amin rin po dinadalangin si Aida Malyari, si Darren Samantha Baflor, si Emily Mojica, si June Reyes, si Mr. Pedris, ganun din po si Ian, si Paolo Guillen, at si Linel Andillan. Patuloy rin po namin dinadalangin ang galingan para po kay Jack Santa Rosa, kay Abel Agustin, kay Julius Castillo, kay Carmen Partida, kay Israel Fernandez, kay Willie and Ninita Lluvido, pati na rin po si Attorney Goody sa kanyang eyesight. Amin rin po nadalangin si Lilibet Dumol, si Ine Castro, si Danilo de Guzman, at si Mercy Macada. Amin rin po sinasama sa panalangin si Ron Obusa, si PJ Garduse, si Novi De Vega, si Arlene Magdasal, pati na rin po si Annie Ang sa kanya pong anxiety. Dinadalangin rin po namin, Panginoon, si Wilma Panganibam, si Kushman, ang Kushman family, pati na rin po si Magdalena Alejo, pati na rin po si Juliana Redinaldo, si May Hain Napitana, at si Hilma Mulabnan, Nelson Tambora, at si Artemio Dulalia. Panginoon, ang mga kapatiran po namin na ito ay nagnanais rin naman na maranasan nila ang kagalingan. Kaya po, Panginoon, namin po inilalapit sila sa inyo, kayo na ba po ang gumawa ng paraan upang sila po ay makaranas ng kasiyahan at magandang pangangatawan. Meron po nadalangin si Simeon Bedbinen, si Jojo Bayona, pati na rin po si Marilu Mapanaw, si Ellen Bagood, si Hani Tero, si Angga Tero, si JJ at saka si Justin. Sinasama rin po namin sa panalangin si Hermie Olbata, si Arlene Bongkal, pati na rin po si Raymond Guerrero, si Marilu Ilasin at si Samuel Cometa. At ganoon din po ang mga may thyroid and diabetes, si Manny Baflor, si Sonia Flores, si Mildred Rombawa, si Niza Costuna, Romy Castellano, Neta Troncal, Yvette Castillo, Susan Sobremisana, Gina and Danny De Gullado, pati na rin po si Kim Martinez na nagnanais na gumaling sa kanya pong diabetes. Sinasama rin po namin sa panalangin si Emily Levante Menyes, si Isaiah Tahir, si Arsenio Arce, si Filomeno Dava Jr. at si Ana de la Cruz, Tim Bryan. Sinasama rin po namin sa panalangin, Panginoon, ang mga kapatiran namin na may cancer, sila Edwin Caram, Rejonam Santiago, si Mayat Brones. Ganoon din po si Athena Malabrigo Lapides, si Benjamin Voltaire Malabrigo, si Teresa Lau. Ganoon din po si Joy Mira Banal, si Prime Nafrada, Angelica na may mga breast cancer. Si Altea Atienza Mindelrelocchio, si Rodrigo Estilore, Ruben Cuyag, si Miriam Sarsuelo, at si Romeo Laile. Amin po nadalangin ang patuloy na pagbibigay ninyo ng kagalingan para kay Telma Magpayo, Mandy Gonzales, kay Barbie Dilupio, Bong Husi, Cora Asilio, Marina Atimza, Norma Basi, Tonet Bagos, at si Tintin Castillo. Amin po hinihiling, Panginoon, ang inyong basbas nawa ang igawad sa amin pong naging speaker, si Pastor Mikeanz Hamol. Naway, papalain po siya sa kanya pong paglilingkod at naway ang inyong presensya, ang kanya pong maranasan sapagkat sa inyo lamang nanggagaling ang kalakasan. Kaya dalangin rin po namin ang bawat isa na kasama po namin nananalangin sa gabi ito. Ang inyo nawa pong gabay at patnubay ang aming pong maranasan. Patuloy rin po namin dinudulog sa inyo at iniharap sa inyo ang aming pong programang Tayong Pag-asa Season 5 sa pangunguna po ni Pastor Noel Galang. Ang mga interes na po, Panginoon, ay patuloy na kausapin ng inyong banal na Espiritu upang madidig nila ang inyong pabalita at sila ay tumugon at tumanggap sa inyo bilang personal at kapagligtas. Muli po namin itinataas ang inyong banal na pangalan ngayon sa gabi ito, Panginoon. At amin pong hinihiling ang inyong patnubay, ang gabay at amin pong maranasan upang kami ay lalo pang maging matatag at lalo pang tumalima sa inyo sapagkat kayo ang lagi naming kasama. Marami pong salamat, Panginoon, sa pagdinig sa aming mga dalangin. Ito po ang aming hiling sa pangalan naming Panginoong Hesus. Amen. Amen. Maraming salamat po mga kapatid sa inyong patuloy na pagsubaybay sa ating pong programang Sweet Hour of Prayer. 7:80 na po at sa ilang sandali na lamang ay mag-uumpisa na ang ating pong Tayong Pag-asa Season 5, 7:30 po yan. Kaya nga, antabay lang po tayo mga kapatid at tayo po ay mag-anyaya at mag-share ng ating pong programa nito. Muli po, kami ay bumabati sa inyo ng magandang gabi at naway pagpalain kayo ng ating Panginoon.
Narinig ang tinig ni Jesus, ang tugon ko'y ayaw sa kailang at daing ng tao. Ang tugon ko'y ayaw. Ibabalita ang pag-ibig at ang dakilang pag-asa. At kung ako'y mabigo, Jesus pasaklolo, pagkat ako'y nagpasyang hahayo.